it pays to check things out and make sure that um, what you think is really true, and that especially if you're buying something, to do some research and find out if it really is what it's purported to be. When I was a teenager, I got a new car. My first car was a 1965 Ford. I bought it used, and then I had that for a year or so, and then I bought when I turned 18, I bought a 1971 Ford Torino, and so I wanted a Mustang, but my dad wasn't in favor of a Mustang at all, so I bought a Torino, and so it was a nice car, and I wanted to keep it clean, and so I thought, well, I should buy an old car to drive back and forth to work so that I can keep my new car clean for dates on the weekend. So I was looking for an old car to buy, and one of the men I worked with had a 1963 Volkswagen Bug that he said he'd sell me, and so I thought, well, that sounds good, and so he lived just across the mountain. He lived right at the base of the mountain. Um, Highway 645 went over the mountain to Pine Grove, and he lived just at the base of the mountain on the Pine Grove side, and I lived on the south side of the mountain, and he was on the north side of the mountain. So I went over, and he said, "Come over and drive it, and see what you think." And he just wanted a couple $100 for it, and so I was like, "Okay, sure." And so I went over, and he gave me the keys. He said, "Take it for a drive." So I took it from his house. I went down into Pine Grove and drove around and came back and said, "Yeah, that looks good. Everything's fine." Yeah. So I bought it, gave him the money, and then I headed home. And I headed up the mountain. And when I started going up the mountain, it missed and sputtered, and the engine didn't run right. I got it up to the top of the mountain and going downhill, and the level was okay. But when you went, yeah, if you really put your foot on the gas and put any load on the engine, it didn't run right. I don't know. I wonder what's wrong with it. So the next morning when I got to work, the man I bought it from, he said, "What do you think of your car?" And I said, "Well, it's okay, but I hit the mountain, it misses and sputtered. Like, what's that about?" He said, "I don't know." He said, I've been trying to figure it out myself, and I don't know what's wrong with it." But he said, "You should have driven it up the mountain before you bought it." He said, "I didn't tell you where to go. I told you to take it for a drive. You could take it anywhere you want, and you didn't take it up the mountain. You took it down and went into town. So you should have gone the other way. Then you would have known." Well, I don't know what was wrong with that engine, but eventually I had to replace the engine, and it was my fault because I went I didn't drive up the mountain with it instead of downhill. It was a fun car to drive, though. It was it was a cute little car, and I had it for a number of years, and eventually I traded it in on a half-ton pickup truck. But um, anyway, I should have checked it out more, and it's our responsibility to check things out and make sure that what we're getting is what we really think it is.